Video games can be really stressful.
The game sucks!
Especially the ones I like to play. I got two options: a story game that's gonna break me emotionally by the end, or a competitive game that honestly feels like a job at times. Shit, they're even making Minecraft hard these days. Stack that on top of a long, mundane day, it makes turning on a console feel really unpleasing, which is the opposite of what video games are supposed to be. They're meant to be a source of entertainment, relaxation, and education. I can tell you right now, COD doesn't give you any of those things. So lately, I've been looking at games in a way I've never seen them before, as a burden. Then one day, I came across this random video.
Does this really help with your anxiety and shit?
If there was one game that was not on it, then I would not play a Switch.
What game is on it?
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. It's a game I tried playing once, but dropped after like 10 minutes. I thought, hey, if you're gonna be a farmer, might as well do it right, you know what I'm saying? I hated that game too, but it reminded me that there's an entire genre of games built to fill that void. One's designed to be relaxing and calming to play. I really struggle to get into these types of games, but this time I was determined to give it a good shot. And what better game to play than Stardew Valley, one of the most beloved games ever made. Anytime I see people playing it, they look like the most happy person ever. Sure, it's not targeted towards my demographic. If you search girl games on Steam, it's the first result. Regardless, I still wanted to at least try. So for the next week, this will be the only game I play. Will I come out with a new perspective on life, or will I go crazy? Going into this, I wanted no outside help or tutorials. I wanted to figure out everything on my own and embrace it. One of the biggest obstacles I would face came about really early on when in the menus. I started off by creating my character and naming my farm, which I somehow already found a way to fuck up.
This is the farm.
It's very apparent that sometimes I don't pay attention to things, and this might be a bigger problem than it seems. So given this is a farming game, I sort of just started doing that. And even though I went into Stardew Valley expecting it to be super chill, it felt really easy. I was given every tool I seemed to need, with no durability in sight, no health bar, or even a hunger mechanic. My first reaction was, this seemed really shallow. I went to the town and that feeling, it disappeared.
What is this place? Energy, health.
Can I die? Why do I need to know people's birthdays?
Okay, how do I buy something?
Brother, I thought this was a farming game. Is this a church? It went from shallow to overwhelming really quickly. So I knew exploring would be very important. But the problem is, half the shit I found made no sense. Like, why is there a church, libraries, bars, even food? It says it gives me health, but I don't have any. This is gonna be a long week. On the second day, I got a letter from a man named Willie, and although skeptical because of his name, I went anyway, and he gave me a fishing rod, which felt like a completely different game.
Oh! Yes!
Why is the fishing this in depth? I would spend all day running around exploring and speaking to the people in the town, and this seems to be a very big part of the game. They have schedules, a few have jobs, some are really nice, others not so much.
Jeez, this guy's straight up a bitch.
And I'm pretty sure you can even marry them. I won't lie, even though it's still early on, all this information was spinning my head. Even though I would forget at times, this is a farming game, and a very interesting one at that. It's very simple on the surface. You buy seeds, put them in the ground, and water them every day. But there's a bit more to it, like some taking longer to grow, some being cheaper and even more profitable, and even having different rarities at times. So I'm sure there's a very clever strategy on which crops to grow at certain times, but I am an idiot, so I would just buy whichever one sounded cool.
Jazz.
Yes, please. But that isn't the only farming in the game. There's animals too, and that brings me to the goal I wanted to achieve. By the end of my time on this game, I wanted to get a coop and some sort of an animal. This only became an end goal when I realized how fucking expensive it is.
4,000!
But hey, at least it's something to strive for. And at this point, we were very far away from it. I don't know if it's typical for players to be this broke at the start of the game, but it was getting to me. The crops took forever to grow, partly because I would forget to water them. So the only other way I knew to make money was from fishing, which was not successful. When I would catch something,
1 inch! Oh, that thing's huge. No!
I threw that one away. It felt like I was stuck. And I think a major problem was my patience. I would constantly rush over things and get distracted by anything slightly cool. I should have paid attention to this note. You'll see why later on. I had never played a game like this. It was gonna take a while to understand it, and I didn't like that very much. But at least there's an egg hunt to look forward to. I saw it on the calendar, people around the town kept speaking about it, and I was actually super excited. They decorated the whole town, and I even bought one strawberry tree. Unfortunately, the result did not go as planned.
No way. No way. She was walking so slow. Have you even found any?
I went home that night a very sad boy. But then things started looking up. Crops were growing more often, I tried crafting a lot more, and kept expanding my operations. Sure, my farms weren't very efficient, but when they looked more professional, I would act more professional. One morning, I was even given a dog.
You know what? It's close.
It finally felt like I was progressing. Before this, after watering my plants in the morning, I had nothing to do all day. Sure, I found things from time to time, but they were usually things I couldn't use or didn't know how to.
What is this stuff?
But now I was productive, and things felt a lot less stagnant. Then one day, I found out there's a combat mechanic, which made me extremely confused and a little worried. See, there were times where I felt like I was behind. Like by now, I'm sure normal people would already have multiple animals, way bigger farms, and even like kids probably. And anytime I would accomplish something or find anything new, instead of being happy, I felt dumb for not doing it earlier, which I don't really think is a good thing. And it's something else I really noticed playing Stardew Valley. Luckily, not too long after, I did find a cave, and I felt like an idiot for not finding it sooner because it was so much fun. Forget everything I just said. In this case, yes, I was an idiot for not finding it sooner. A lot like the fishing, this was super in-depth. I had seen that I need copper and other minerals, but had no clue how to get them. It was all here in this cave.
I've been looking for this stuff.
There were times where it got a bit tricky, I won't lie. Those crabs are not a joke. I would come here almost every day to the point I even had enough money for the coop, just not the other minerals I needed. So I still needed to grind that out. But it's okay because I still had another festival to attend, the Forest Dance, I think it was called. And surely this one can't be as bad as the first, right? Right?
That's flattering, but I'm gonna have to say no. Okay, running out of options slowly. I'll be honest, I don't want to dance with you. Everyone said no.
This is a fucking joke. Another festival and another depressing night. But at least this time I would wake up with enough things to finally buy the coupe. Honestly, fuck 'em. 4,000 monies was a lot to save up for. There were times where I struggled and didn't feel super confident in reaching my goal. Maybe a lot of players this means nothing, and long term it probably doesn't. But it was the first thing I was proud of when playing. Sure, I placed it on my path and nearly screamed. But after getting and naming my first chicken, it made it worth it. Before playing, I said this was either gonna make me view my life in a new way or go crazy. And sure, not all my problems disappeared playing this for 1 week, but I did learn a few things about myself that I wouldn't have taken into consideration if it wasn't for this silly pixel game. So overall, this has been a great week.
Wait, what the fuck? Everything's gone. Why are all my crops gone? No, 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 no.